Friday, May 31. This is the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says 15 major construction projects, including apartment buildings, office buildings, parking facilities, and cultural and entertainment facilities, are slated for Kingston and St. Andrew as part of the continued development of the corporate area.
And then, of course, you would have heard as well about the government circle project and Parliament. The Parliament building is well on its way. Work has begun in terms of finalizing the designs, and we have already started work on the Hero Circle, Government Circle project. And then you would have heard the Minister of National Security also speak about the Police Plaza, where we have identified the lands for that. I looked at some amazing architectural designs that is in place. And the list of projects that I've seen would be about 15 major construction projects slated for Kingston and St. Andrew.
The Prime Minister was speaking at the opening of the new Grace Kennedy headquarters in downtown Kingston this week.
The truth is that climate change is going to affect Kingston City. There's no question about that with rising sea levels. So we have to do what is necessary to protect the real estate assets that are here. So the government will make the necessary investments in the appropriate seawall. The necessary utility infrastructure, sewage and water, in particular sewage along this stretch, that investment will be made. We have already scoped it. We know what the cost is, and it will be programmed in budgets to come. We're making the necessary provisions to bring water into this area. And we have already made the budgetary provisions for those. Clearly, the private sector will always move very swiftly for telecommunications and electricity infrastructure. So the government is going to put in place everything to make sure that when you decide to build, you are well facilitated.
Finance and Public Service Minister Dr. Nigel Clark confirmed yesterday that he will be shortly meeting with local microfinancing institutions to discuss several issues that have arisen over the recent tabled Microcredit Bill. The minister says he intends to meet with microfinanciers because although there is no deadline for the passage of the bill, the government would like to have it implemented as soon as possible to address problems in the sector. On Tuesday, at the Jamaica Microfinance Association's annual Microfinance Sector Leadership Forum in New Kingston, Minister of State in the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, Floyd Green, said that the government is prepared to entertain stakeholder discussions on aspects of the proposed act that have caused concerns in the sector. Green said that he had discussions with the finance minister after the concerns were raised at a recent meeting with members of the micro, small and medium-sized enterprises sector. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the recent disbanding of the Jamaica Constabulary Forces Mobile Reserve is a step in the transformation of the organization for the better. No indication was given as to how soon the new special force would be launched. However, the Prime Minister says members who were part of the Mobile Reserve will be free to reapply.
So we are going to rebuild our Special Operations Unit, branch, whatever it will be called. But there will be stronger accountability and a stronger doctrine to ground it in the use of force. And the members who were a part, I'm certain, whatever the protocol is determined, but will be free to reintegrate and reapply and go through that process of retraining. But you will have a better reformed Special Operations Unit, of which you can all be proud.
The Prime Minister said his administration will be providing the police with the tools to use force as a last resort.
And what I want to see the JCF become is an organization that can use force without violence and can use force proportionately and as a last resort. That means we're going to have to change all kinds of systems, give you new tools, techniques and technology. But the first thing we're going to have to do is to change the mindset of both the society and the JCF.
Mr. Holness added that the JCF's transformation will include infrastructure and equipment, including technology. Among the measures announced is the rebuilding of Harmon Barracks and the retooling of the force's mobility.
The government of Jamaica took a decision that we will order a fleet of police cars, not cars used for policing.
The Prime Minister was delivering the keynote address at the Jamaica Police Federation's annual joint conference at Moon Palace in Ocho Rios this week. The University Hospital of the West Indies yesterday officially commissioned Jamaica's and the region's first interventional suite to diagnose and treat complex cardiac cases using minimally invasive surgeries and significantly reducing recovery time. The unit was completed at a cost of $300 million with contributions from the Chase Fund, the National Health Fund, and the Ministry of Health and other donors. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton, keynote speaker at the function, said that the UHWI's role in providing quality health care was unquestionable. Dr. Carl Bruce, Medical Chief of Staff, said the suite, which began operating in April and which has done 75 procedures to date, is expected to handle 50 per week. Condolence books are scheduled to open today for late former Prime Minister Edward Seaga at several locations island-wide. The office of the Prime Minister, Gordon House, the Jamaica Labour Party's headquarters on Belmont Road in Kingston, and all municipal corporations. Jamaicans residing overseas will also be able to pay their respects by signing condolence books, which will open at various overseas missions. Mr. Seaga, aged 89, died in the United States in hospital on May 28. He was Jamaica's 5th Prime Minister, serving from October 1980 to February 1989. Today is World No Tobacco Day. Every year on May 31, the World Health Organization and global partners celebrate World No Tobacco Day. The annual campaign is an opportunity to raise awareness on the harmful and deadly effects of tobacco use and second-hand smoke exposure, and to discourage the use of tobacco in any form. The focus of World No Tobacco Day 2019 is on tobacco and lung health. The campaign will increase awareness on the negative impact that tobacco has on people's lung health, from cancer to chronic respiratory disease, and fundamental role lungs play for the health and well-being of all people. The Ministry of Health and Wellness and its agency, the National Council on Drug Abuse, will join the global recognition of the day by holding a silent observation and public engagements across the island. Though Darian Douglas did not win the 2019 Scripps National Spelling Bee, he is treasuring the experience gained from the competition and brimming with confidence at taking a second shot. The 12-year-old Gleaner Children's Own Spelling Bee champion yesterday dropped out at the final stage of the international competition underway in Washington, D.C. Although saddened by his exit, Darian said that he was willing to enter the competition again. In regional news, regional sugar producers are making an urgent appeal for policy changes to address the large amounts of extra-regional sugar being consumed in Caribbean community member countries. The appeal was made by members of the Sugar Association of the Caribbean at their recent 170th Board of Directors meeting held earlier this month in Belize. The board meeting focused on the future of regional sugar supply, and the SAC noted that 18 months after changes moved market preferences for CARICOM sugar in Europe, regional producers are still looking for solutions within their own regional market. The SAC board has stated that presently more than 2/3 of sugar consumed in CARICOM comes from extra-regional sources, duty-free, displacing market opportunities for over 200,000 metric tons of CARICOM sugar, which is forced into the low-value global market. The association says policy changes are required to secure the integration of the sugar market within the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, the CSME. It says a failure to achieve this threatens a major agricultural sector for the region's economy. In sports, Racers Track Club head coach Glenn Mills is hoping that Kemar Bailey Cole will get back to world-class level and to deliver on his promise he had shown a few years ago as the next big thing. This after 2 injury-plagued years. Bailey Cole, the former Old Harbour High School star, now 27 years old, will line up in the 100 meters at Racers Adidas Grand Prix against fellow Jamaicans Johan Blake and Asafa Powell and Great Britain's Zarnell Hughes and the emerging American Kendall Williams. Bailey Cole, the 2014 Commonwealth Games 100-meter champion, ran his first 100 meters in 10.46 seconds at the all-comers meet on May 11, and Coach Mills is expecting further improvement. That's the news on PBCJ. Pleasant viewing.